Welcome back. Well, grade 12 learners return to school today. The other grades will follow very soon. The World Health Organization says the best and safest way to reopen schools is in the context of low community transmissions. So on the question of the day, we're asking you, are people in your community adhering to all COVID-19 health and safety protocols? With regards to opening of the schools, I want to bring in our education reporter, Mahlako Komane, live for us in Johannesburg. Mahlako, a very good morning to you.
Good morning, Clay.
All right. So the return of grade 12s today, what sort of reports are you getting with regards to this return?
Well, it was an expected return. We do remember that they have obviously to finish the curriculum in terms of what they need to know and what they need to be able to be competent in for them to be able to sit for the National Senior Certificate. And I think also when you look at the newly gazetted calendar, that speaks to that school is meant to finish by the 15th of December, meaning that they will obviously have to write sometime this year, which was a bit, I don't know if we should call it a surprise, considering that in his address to the nation, the president had said that, the academic year would last into 2021, but what we see that is lacking in 2021 is the marking of the National Senior Certificate.
Yeah. So the marking with regards to the Matric exams, I have it in front of me here, is expected to be completed by the 22nd of January, and Matric results will be released on the 23rd of Feb, correct?
Yes, I suppose that is the plan from the department. But then obviously that would be informed by the trajectory that the virus may take, because we obviously are in uncharted waters in terms of what is it that must happen. I think that when the Matric went back in June, in that second week, I think it was on the 8th of June when they went back, nobody had expected that there would be obviously this change in plans, if you want to call it that. But seemingly the department is, I think, very adamant to get the class of 2020 out of the way in terms of them writing that senior certificate. And last week also, I think I must just add this, Blaine. Last week when we had a conversation with Umalusi, which is the quality assurance body, them saying, and I think assuring a lot of parents and a lot of learners at home that they will not be writing a compromised paper. They will not be dropping the standard simply because there was this pandemic, and that assurance that if need be, they were prepared, to give them extra time to cover up this entire curriculum. But it remains to be seen. We obviously also need to calculate how many days of learning had they missed, and in terms of the curriculum, how far should they have been. Yeah. But I know with a lot of schools by around June, just as they hit that June examination period, those prelims, they're normally done with the curriculum for that particular year. Because I think everything doesn't start in Matric. I think in grade 11 is also quite an important year. So, it'll be very interesting to see what is it that is going to happen going forward, because we do see the numbers haven't necessarily gone down by that big margin that you can say, perhaps as a country facing a pandemic, we are out of the woods.
Yeah, Mahlako, there's this huge debate going around the world with regards to whether children spread like adults, in terms of getting some sort of indication whether to send them back to school. We know what the WHO says with regards to reopening of schools. It needs to be in an environment where there's low transmission of coronavirus. There's a South Korean study, for instance, that shows that children and teens between the ages of 10 and 19 spread like adults. This is being reported. With regards to children under, there's this new report as well that shows that they carry a lot of genetic material in their noses. So the science is still uncertain. We're still learning more and more about this, which means it adds to the confusion and, makes people perplexed and vexed as well with regards to making that decision whether to send your child to school or not. What's the mood among parents? What are you picking up with regards to this?
I think parents obviously quite split. You'll remember that I think with the gradual reopening of the economy, a lot of parents having to find themselves needing to go back to work. Obviously, school does form an important or a reliable form of childcare for quite a lot of parents. But those parents that I suppose can afford the privilege of not sending their children back to school and having them at home, some of the parents saying that for them, they would rather have a repeated year as opposed to, a dead child or a dead body. For them, if they have to make that decision, they do not mind, keeping their children at home. And I think it was, if you remember, I think there was a briefing in Gauteng with the Command Council there saying that, even Matrics, let's go to grade 12, because mainly the big focus is there, is that I think Gauteng couldn't account for about 30% of the grade 12 learners. They just weren't there in terms of what they know their numbers to be as early or as late as March. 30% of those kids not coming in. With the lower grades, even worse. With parents, I think just felt like I'd rather really just have my child stay at home.
Yeah.
So I think parents find themselves in a very uncertain environment. But I think a lot of parents obviously making that decision whether to send children to school or not based on the numbers that we see and we report on every day. This is the death toll, these are the new infections. And I think that causes quite a lot of anxiety among a lot of parents. And I think with the younger ones, where you see that there isn't necessarily that ability to adhere to wearing a mask, sanitizing all the time, I think parents feeling that maybe their children are too young, and hence you see that big number of them not necessarily being in school, specifically in Gauteng. We'd obviously have to see what are other provinces experiencing. But I think it's quite an anxious time for parents.
It is.
But a lot of them choosing to keep those children at home. Others saying we can't hide forever. Life needs to continue. We need to know how to live with this thing and see what is it that's going on.
Yeah, and as scientists learn more and more about this virus, the measures that needs to be taken can change a bit. So the WHO is asking us to be, I guess, more acceptable or accept some of these changes that come through as and when they learn more and more about this virus, COVID-19. Novel, new, as we say. Mahlako Komane, live for us. Thank you very much indeed. All right, appreciate your reporting. As you can